was interesting on exercise and longevity. So there was a recent study that came out looking at uh, lifespan of patients who exercised versus those who didn't versus who exercised more. And the data here was actually pretty interesting. Um, for a while, we've been told to exercise up to 300 minutes a week, 150 to 300 minutes, and it seems to improve lifespan, anywhere from 5-10 years. And exercise, to be defined, is not just walking; it's brisk walking, it's lifting weights, it's running, it's some sort of amount of vigor in that for the week. And 300 minutes is a lot of exercise. That's about 5 hours in a week. The question was, does additional exercise promote your lifespan? And this study actually found that patients who lived from 150 to 300, from 300 to 600, the patients who were in the 300 to 600 category actually lived longer. And so we're not just talking about a few months here or a few years. It was another 5-8 years. So this is both good and bad news. I mean, the good news is for those of you who exercise, I think you should probably feel proud of the fact that you're increasing your lifespan, increasing your longevity, probably increasing your overall health. And if you're adding that extra 300 to 600 minutes, if you're making a total of 300 to 600 minutes, that's no joke. That's about 10 hours of exercise. So I recently have adapted this in my own practice. And so I've been trying to hit that target of 600 minutes a week. And trust me, that is not easy to do on a consistent basis. So what I do is I try to have a couple of days that are just really busy, active days. And for me, that's going to be on the weekend. It's really hard for me to be, especially if I'm so busy with work and research and projects and life and kids. So on the weekend, I go to the gym and I typically try to get an hour to an hour and a half workout. And, that includes doing, now I've upped my cardio. I used to do, 10 minutes to now doing about 25 to 30 minutes of cardio, plus doing weights, and usually trying to do heavy weights on Saturday, Sunday, and improving that. And after that's all said and done, weights and cardio, and then I try to do a bike ride. Usually I do a bike ride with my little guy, and we'll add another hour or so there. And so it's pretty easy for me to get a couple hours on Saturday, a couple hours on Sunday, and usually I can even get a little bit above and beyond that. The challenge is trying to get, even if you get 2 hours and 2 hours, you still have, it's 4 hours, you still have 6 hours left of exercise. And so one way I try to, kind of find some minutes there is I either walk or bike to work. Walking to work for me is about a 45-minute there and a 45-minute back. So that's nice for one way. Both ways it happens sometimes. And I'm conscious that I have to have a brisk walk pace. For me, it's going to be trying to get my walk pace definitely below 20 minutes, but somewhere in that 15-minute range. And then the other way I try to find some time for exercise is when I come home. Instead of just sitting down and watching TV and relaxing, I'll jump on something. I'll jump on a bike, jump on a rower, and again, try to get that 25, 30 minutes, plus trying to get the weights during the week. And again, no joke, especially if you start getting started with this, it's kind of not easy to kind of get ramped up to that. But once you're going with that, actually you feel pretty good. You get more energy. And the science behind this probably supports exercise, ramping up your, multiple levels that you get if you listen to the Lifespan podcast from Dr. David Sinclair, who's a scientist, not a physician. He can talk about, some of the molecular changes that are happening, but you are making more NAD, which is a molecule that decreases as we get older, and actually feel better, have more energy. So, something to consider. So both mixed news on that. I would love if they said you could get enough exercise with 150 minutes, 300 minutes. Data is data, And it makes sense to me that being more active is going to lead to a longer life, and being the right kind of active makes sense too.